Hi and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. So today we are going to talk about failure because we are one and a half months into 2025, and I had to admit to myself that the goals that I made for myself or the habits that I wanted to create are actually not working for me. To make sure that I course correct and don't let this to determine how the rest of the year goes, I have decided that today I'll share how I got to this place where I am right now, where I feel like I already burned out and the year is not even halfway through. And so yeah, I want to explain how I got myself here and how I plan to course correct so that you perhaps would not make those same mistakes, or if you feel like you're in the same position, find inspiration how to move forward and not let this determine your the rest of the year. I have got myself some healthy snacks to make sure that my body and mind is in a good space. So let's first prepare those and then let's get to work. The best work gets done on the floor, so don't mind me. I finished preparing some snacks, which honestly ended up being like full-on meal, but whatever. To be able to do my work, we have to also fuel our body. I have here a bit of carrots, celery, pears. I love those chips. I don't know what chips what they're really made of, but they're sour cream taste and they apparently are low in calories, so should be good. And here I also put a little bit of tuna with cottage cheese, and here's hummus. So how are we gonna approach this? First, I wanna kind of share how did I go wrong, as I said. I also want to emphasize that when I talk about failure, it's not really that... the definition of failure for me is a bit different. It's an opportunity for growth, rather than this negative connotation to the word that, oh, now I failed and the rest of the year will be bad and there is no chance that I'll, succeed. No, this is my moment now to reassess what I have accomplished first and what needs to be changed. And actually for that I also have this book, Failing Forward. Say before I started reading this book, I thought my relationship with failure was good. Like, I didn't consider myself to be too, let's say, attached to success, and I mean perfectionism, yes, but I thought I was better at handling failure. However, now that I've been reading this book, I recognize that, first of all, I haven't even failed that much. And let me first explain. This doesn't mean that I think that I am somehow perfect. No, it means that I've been living in a comfort zone, which means that there haven't been too many opportunities for failure. And what this book says is basically that you need failure in order to grow, in order to figure yourself out and get to the point where you actually want to be. And funny enough, I was just reading this chapter where it says 90% of all those who fail are not actually defeated, they simply quit. But he also continues to say that there's only one solution to the gridlock on the failure freeway, and that's to wake up and find the exit. To leave the road of continual failure, a person must first utter the three most difficult words to say: I was wrong. He has to open his eyes, admit his mistakes, and accept complete responsibility for his current wrong actions and attitudes. Every failure you experience is a fork in the road. It's an opportunity to take the right action, learn from your mistakes, and begin again. And that's quite literally what we are going to do today. We are accepting that I was wrong with the goals that I set myself, and now it's an opportunity to course correct. I want to show you how I approached my goal setting in the beginning of the year. I divided, let's say, my goals into pillars. Here I have finances, career, commitments, knowledge, passions, also looks, feelings, personal brand, health, and relationships. All those topics I considered for myself as something that I want to working on. I want to take inventory of what has been going well. For example, I have been able to be very consistent with my workout plan. What I also wrote down here was that I want to complete the 12-week program by Abby, and it's been going very well. I've actually found or rediscovered my love for the gym. In addition to that, I've been doing yoga, doing Pilates, so workouts I've been doing pretty well. Another goal that I had was to make sure that I sleep well. I have been getting 8 hours of sleep almost every evening or every night, so I think that's also something to be proud of. I also want to attend at least 2 gallery openings or exhibitions per month, and I've been able to do that, but honestly this, since we are only halfway into February, I cannot really speak too much on that topic. But I feel like these are things that have been going relatively well. Things that I think are not going exactly how I wanted them to go are everything related to my career, whether it's handling stress at my current job or wanting to, say, enhance my skills. I feel like I have not really taken good care of myself. I have mapped out 3 main mistakes that I made with this current plan. First of all, I overloaded myself. I planned my life like I have unlimited energy to focus on my business and my career, social life, fitness, reading, traveling. So I had too many goals, and I assumed that I'm able to fit them in my 24-hour day or 7-day a week. What ended up happening is that I have been feeling overwhelmed. Some days I felt I can do everything and super productive, and I know that completing your habits or task list should not be dependent on your mood, but when I continuously was not able to meet the goals, I just mentally already had given up. I haven't been focusing on the things that actually matter to me the most, and been trying to spread my energy in all the different new habits that I want to take up, which I think is the time, like when getting a new habit for yourself, you cannot expect yourself to be fluent at it immediately, and you need to allow yourself to have time to create the habit. That brings me to the second mistake that I made with this plan, and that is that I focused too much on the what and not the why. I put in the shit goals that looked very good on paper. When I really started doing them, I realized I wasn't actually excited about some of them. And I had put them in the list because they sounded impressive rather than I actually wanted them. For example, I convinced myself that, I'm still very passionate about femtech, but I approached this topic from a wrong point of view. I was telling myself you need to read so much about femtech so you will be able to create the company in femtech field, and that will bring you the success that you wanted. However, now I've been reflecting on my wish to even create this femtech company, and why do I want to do that? Deep down, I think it also has to do with the fact that I feel like whatever I create is only worthy if it's saving lives. I'm trying to blend everything that I care about into one category. For example, another way that has helped me to kind of restructure everything that I believe to be true is this concept introduced by author of Eat, Pray, Love. I need to check the name, but basically she was saying that we have our job, we have our career, we have our calling, and then we have our hobbies. And what I was trying to do with this personal plan or the goals was to all of those into one thing. That I wanted to have my job in the field that I feel passionate about, so let's say femtech, or I want to build my career around this whole femtech topic. Then my hobbies, like, they need to be involved, like kind of combined with this, and then my calling similarly. I heard this, I realized that this is actually not a healthy way to do that, and I can separate my job from my career, from my calling, and from my hobbies. Lastly, mistake number 3 is that I did not leave room for real life. As I said, I planned everything as I had unlimited energy, but I also planned it as if nothing would ever go wrong. And those are the days that I have felt emotionally not well, and these are the days that I do want to allow myself to just sit with it and not push myself to do something that I know that it's just like I don't have the headspace for that. Now that I restructured the plan, I want to make sure that I allow myself rest days and days that real life could happen. And if it doesn't, obviously I can continue working, but I want to make sure that this is incorporated into the schedule as well. To change the location because I feel like the natural lighting is coming better on that side. Now I'm here. To continue with the topic, after I determined the mistakes that I made, now I'm in the second phase where I want to determine the adjustments that I need to. The first step to take is to prioritize what actually excites you. You can start by creating a list of things that genuinely light you up, just to let go of things that do not bring you joy, or running projects that are just there out of habit rather than your genuine passion. I ask myself, like, if no one saw this goal, would I still want it? Meaning that maybe a lot of things that I scheduled for myself, or like not scheduled for myself but set up for myself because I thought they looked good to other people rather than to me specifically. The second step is to make goals manageable, and that ties to the mistake that I made, which was that I overwhelmed myself. So instead of having 100 different goals, I will now only do this strategy for the first 6 months of the year, and I want to pick 3 main priorities that I want to concentrate on. And this is called a rule of 3, and because our brains can actually handle 3 things better at the time, and anything beyond that, apparently your brain just like automatically starts zoning out. Step 3 is to build flexibility in the plan. In order to allow flexibility into this and make sure that when life happens, I am still on track, I prefer saying, like, reading articles, not that I do it every day. I say do it every other day, and I read articles about whatever, regardless of the topic, because right now I have written down it needs to be femtech, it needs to be on Monday, it needs to be XYZ. And this already, if I didn't do it on Monday, then I feel like, oh dang, like I missed the mark, and now I have to wait until the next week to do it again. I think I need to be better at tracking the progress, and that is step 4. Creating myself progress tracking in a way that feels fun, and to also celebrate things that I have been able to achieve. Like, I don't know, whether it's about saving money or even reading the articles or working on certain project, to really mark down the things that I've done. And if I see that I've consistently shown up for myself, I should also be able to celebrate that. I have asked ChatGPT to also give me some journaling prompts to help me with goal setting and kind of reflecting on the topic in general, like what has worked for me well or what's not. Some of the questions, for example, are: what tasks, projects, or commitments am I forcing myself to continue even though they no longer serve me? What would I do if I wasn't afraid of letting people down or being judged? What areas of my life currently feel overwhelming or misaligned? And I already have an idea of how I can answer those. For example, it also says that identify 3 to 5 things that truly excite you and motivate you. And with those answers, I should be able to pinpoint the things that should be left out of the overall plan, and then also highlight the things that should be included. So for example, if some of the questions or activities that I've marked in this journaling are draining but are important to me, I should just adjust it and break those habits into smaller steps and change the approach, make it more fun, accessible, and also like reduce the pressure. If it's training and I'm unsure whether it actually means what I think it means for me, I need to pause and reevaluate and set a deadline to check back in. So let's say at the end of March, I revisit this goal and see how I feel about it again, and then I can experiment with different approaches regarding this goal. And then obviously, lastly, we have things that are draining and things that are misaligned, and these are the things that I need to let go. So I need to ask myself, would I be relieved if I quit? And I think even though we might be inclined to quit things before we even try, I think there are certain things that I already know that, well, these are not really serving me well, and I need to identify the fears surrounding quitting those. And I think I just need to determine the exit plan and set myself up for success. This energy shift that I hope that comes from this adjustment will help me to feel that I'm actually in control of goals that I'm setting, and that that I don't have to do everything at once. I think that is like the overarching problem with times I want to be perfect in everything, which ends up me being not good at anything. Now I think, as I said, I'll make this strategy for the next 6 months, answer those journaling points, come back to you to share what I discovered, how I plan to put it into practice basically. Much better after completing all those exercises and the journaling, because I now actually very clearly see why I'm already feeling like this, because I listed all the goals that I set myself back in December. The list was so long, so no wonder that all of it just feels so overwhelming. And as I said, our brain is able to function with 3 things at once, so my list of 12 items was obviously just too much for my brain to comprehend. I have doubled down my list. I want to have this recap moment at the end of every month to see whether I'm on track, the goals that I've set are working for me, and if another readjustment needs to be done. So I hope that there were parts that you found useful for yourself as well. Probably will take a nap. I feel so tired. I think it's going to get better from now on. So thank you for tuning in. I am very grateful that you were here, and we'll see you next week.